There's a reason why over 1 million people tune into Hard Facts every day. We discuss in-depth stories with sources behind the facts.
The Lagos State High Court has convicted suspended the Chicago certificate story. It's never going away, is it? Show with stories for the day.
You hear diverse voices and opinions.
She was meeting the campaign with her husband, knowing that. You should not feel happy because there is nothing to happy about.
Yeah, it's quite pathetic the way the country is going.
We distinguish each story accurately with analysis.
It's Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Are you curious about what's happening in the world of politics beyond your borders? Tune into Global Review as we bring you the latest political stories from across the globe.
Many Palestinians, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, are forced off their land by that conflict. So one starting fact is 5.9 million Palestinians are refugees.
But what we don't realize is that what's happening in the Congo is happening in your backyard as well. 6 million people, over 6 million people are there in the Congo because it's the same conflict, right? In the DRC, we have militia groups, we have neighborhood trees, but why are they fighting? People die is to get control of our resources.
Join me, Maryann Okon, as we dive deep into the most pressing issues, uncovering the truth and analyzing the impact on a global scale. From the corridors of power in Washington to the bustling streets of Accra, we've got you covered. We'll take you on a journey through different political systems, exploring the challenges and triumphs of the nations near and far. Hear from world leaders, experts, newsmakers, and everyday citizens as they share their perspective, providing a comprehensive overview of the political landscape. Tune in every Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. on Hard Facts to be a part of the global conversation on 99.3 Nigeria Info. All right, 6 minutes gone past the 4 o'clock hour. Welcoming you to the nation's #1 talk news and sports radio station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is Global Review on Hard Facts. I'm Maryann Okon. Today we go to Kenya, as you heard Yvonne say a few minutes ago. And the story for today revolves around the Kenyan president, Ruto. Well, Kenya's President William Ruto has sparked, yet again, protests recently after donating some $150,000 to a Nairobi church, just months after saying such handouts had fueled corruption. Now, Ruto's pledge of 20 million shillings to the Jesus Winner Ministry Church led to protesters gathering there a week later, demanding the return of what they called stolen tax money, only to be tear-gassed by police. We hear that church donations and fundraisers are long-standing tradition in Kenya, and politicians often use the pulpits to reach the masses in the predominantly Christian country. Last year, I might add, MP Oscar Sudi, a Ruto ally, drew cheers from the congregation when he delivered a sack containing 3 million shillings, around $20,000, to a church in Gishu County. But the practice has become increasingly divisive since mass protests broke out last June against tax hikes, corruption, and police brutality. Joining me to have this conversation is my very good friend, Ndu Brian, who is joining us from the United Kingdom. He's a political analyst, and he obviously is very well vested in geopolitics, especially politics across the African continent. Ndu, it's so good to have you join us. I know that you have a very busy day today, and you probably might be driving, but you decided to join us. Thank you so much, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you ever so much for having me, Maryann, and good afternoon to the listeners right across the nation and all over the world.
Lovely. Let's start by looking at, what's happening in Kenya. I mean, this is normal practice in Nigeria. The politicians literally use the pulpits and churches for their campaigns and do all sorts of things, and it doesn't necessarily raise an eyebrow. But why is it gaining so much heat in the Kenyan populace? I mean, we're seeing and hearing that the Gen Zs are the ones who are actually championing these protests.
I think it has to begin with the fact that he himself, William Ruto, did say that he is against this. He did say that this is a way of corruption. So everyone now is confused, and they're looking around thinking, if Ruto is saying this is corruption, what is he doing? Is he being corrupt? And there's also calls that this is a way of most of the church, most of the politicians rather, finding a way of money laundering, finding a way of cleaning their money that they're stealing from the public purse. Because there's no way that someone can donate 150,000 US dollars willy-nilly without anyone batting an eyelid. Everyone is saying this has to come from the state coffers. If it's coming from the state coffers, who is holding him accountable? And the young people are saying, we will hold you accountable as a leader that we've elected.
One would even wonder why the church would be pointed fingers at as a money laundering tool of sorts, being that the church is supposed to be some sort of sucker in a, especially on the continent where even the courts and civil society cannot be trusted again because of monies changing hands. How does this reflect on the church if it's being accused of money laundering for politicians who the entire populace is trying to set right?
I think we're seeing a very huge number of churches now growing and churches being sprouting from different corners. And I'm sure it's the very same case right now in Nigeria, where we're having a lot of what some call the prosperity gospel churches that have broken away from mainstream traditional churches, your Anglican church, Catholic, Methodist, SDA, you name them. So now you're having a huge growth of your prosperity gospel churches, the ones that will say, if you give money to the church, you will also get some riches coming back towards your way. So with the growth of these churches, everyone is now wondering, and this is a African phenomena. It does not stop only in Kenya or Nigeria. It is now spread right across the Christian part of Africa. And now everyone is wondering that with this growth of churches, what is their main purpose? Because they're all preaching exactly the same thing. They're all running away from a different, from other churches. And one thing that is becoming very apparent is that they all live very luxurious, lavish lifestyles that are very much in your face. If they're living those lives, where are they getting this money from? Politicians are donating. Therefore, this is where the connection comes in. There must be money laundering of sorts that is happening higher and beyond just what is being donated in the public populace.
There have been a couple of people who have before now consistently, checked the government of Kenya in terms of, what they're doing with the monies of the people. One of those, I tried to look him up on X, Morara Kebaso. He's an Inject party leader. He says he carries the burden of inspiring broken people. Now, he posted something which I want to read out to you. He says, Kenyan politics is tribal. Yes, we know that. That is why we want to change it. Will it be easy? He says, no. Is it possible? He said, yes. Why is it important to end the distribution of power and resources on the basis of tribalism? He says it's because the tribal process results in poor leaders with no vision, because the tribal process allows an individual to enjoy tribal protection from accountability and corruption. Because the tribal process sows hate and division, we can change it. We must change it. The Gen Zs have more than 10 million tribalist votes. Keep laughing at us and mocking us. We look like dreamers, but watch this dream. He has been pointed as one of those people who's sparking the protest, who's stoking the fire and calling on the Gen Zs to come out and protest. Is there any truth to what he said? Because again, this sounds like where I come from, where the politicians take delight in dividing us. In fact, when it's campaign season, they remember that, oh, you're from the north and you're from the south. But when they're dividing or sharing monies, they don't remember that. Why is this the case? I have actually experienced this in Nairobi before at the airport, where a soldier who didn't necessarily know if I was Kenyan or not asked me if I was Kikuyi or another tribe, and I said, well, I'm not, I'm Nigerian. And that's for the first time I experienced that whole tribalism. But why is it holding deep roots like that in Kenya, which is also, like he said, causing some level of unaccountability?
So I think when you go backwards a little bit, you realize that all the former colonies, especially the British colonies that were given independence later than most, I say given in the sense that, of course, people had to fight for their independence. They had to break free from that colonial rule. But equally, there was the side of Great Britain. They had to almost authorize it and sign it off. This is why I use the word given. You realize that ones that got independence quite later, in comparison to ones that got it way before, tribalism is very rife. And the reason why it is rife is because those colonial administrations used it as a way to divide people. And it worked very well for them because a divided nation meant that it is easier for them to use resources the way they wanted to use them. But now, this is where the beautiful thing is starting to happen, is that the younger generation are not overly worried about tribes as much as the older generation were. And as this comes on now, churches become the prominence, because if we can't divide you tribally as young people, we will find another way to divide you. And this is where the churches come in, right? The largest churches will get the largest donations, because that's where most of the young people would have flocked to. This is why you're seeing this influx of money into different churches. Also recently, as recent as last week, an MP donated close to $20,000 US dollars to a church in Nairobi. Wow. So it shows you that they're realizing that we can't divide the young people based on tribal lines, because they have united a little bit more. They're integrating a lot more. People, social mobility is happening a lot more. But there's one way we can divide them, and that is church. If you belong to one denomination, or even if you are Christian and you belong to one church, you will find that the practice is slightly different from the other one. And this on its own is beginning to fuel that divide. But young people are rising slightly above that and saying, we can see right through what you're trying to do. So I think politicians now have to be more inventive, the tribal lines or the religious lines, because the young people are seeing way beyond that now. They want leaders that are accountable, and this is spreading right across the continent.
I'm just looking at yet another person who's an activist. He's called the People's Watchman. His name is, I think, Boniface Mwangi. Now, he talked about the fact that the governor of Nandi County, Arab Sang, held a fundraiser to support medical bills of an ailing voter. And he said, and I quote, "This is enough proof that the Ruto sham health insurance called SHA isn't working. If it did, leaders from Ruto's backyard wouldn't be holding medical harambis." And I don't know what harambi means, but these are genuine issues that people are facing and are saying, why are you taking so much money to the churches? Why are you not using these monies to better the loss of the average person instead of giving these monies to the church? And one would say that Ruto's government has not necessarily started on a good foot, because you and I remember the previous protest when he had that issue with the IMF. And here we are again, people protesting in their numbers, most importantly, young people saying, this is not good governance. We want better. Do you think that Ruto is going to last as president? I mean, and would he even be able to get a second term with all that's happening under his watch?
I think we can debate about him getting a second term. I think that one can be up in the air at the moment. I personally, looking at the dynamics at the moment in Kenya, I don't think he will be able to come back and serve again. I think the people are slightly fed up with his rule at the moment, rightly or wrongly. Again, he inherited an economy that was riddled in debt, and his whole premise from the get-go was that he's here to fix everything. Now, the problem with that is the inaccuracies of his statements from the get-go. From him coming in saying he's here to clean up everything, he's the chosen one to do it, to him actually spending a lot more money than needed, to him now saying no donations to churches, but he donates the next day. And these are inaccuracies that we see right through across his presidency, right? We're seeing him set up a whole sort of health bill, and we look at it, it's riddled with a lot of holes that don't make sense. If it's working so perfectly well, why does someone have to go, an MP have to go and cover those bills for an elderly lady? Yeah. So it shows that the young people are fed up. They want opportunities. They want an economy that is functional, an economy that gives them hope, an economy that gives them more. And this is why the second term coming up for Ruto might be difficult. Yeah. Now, do I think they can remove him now? I don't think so. I think the first wave of protest showed that he's firmly in the ground. Unless there's an impeachment of sorts that can happen in Parliament, then maybe we can speak of him being overthrown at the moment. But in terms of anything happening wayward? No. It has to be something formal that will go through Parliament. And unfortunately, the parliamentarians are all, well, majority of them are on Ruto's side.
Are on his side, yeah, I can tell. Now, when Ruto, the first set of people who started, protesting about this, he replied to them saying that these people do not believe in God. He says that the monies that he gave was personal funds, but many are skeptical. Let's talk about the role that religion plays in either the deterioration of our politics or governance, as opposed to, accountability, especially in Africa.
And then this is where the growth of prosperity gospel is coming in, right? It's now saying that the problems that you have, some are not of your own, they're not your own doing. However, God will sort it out for you. Now, I'm fairly a religious man, and I believe some things are way above me, and I can fix some other things myself. In terms of governance, we have the ability as a populace to vote people in and out. Now, we can't vote somebody in and then hope for miracles because they've said that they prayed in church yesterday, therefore miracles will happen, we'll start getting food on the table, right? And this is what a lot of politicians are doing now. They're using the pulpit as a way of hoodwinking people into believing that poor governance is not the politician's fault, it's not the government's fault, it is some fault that has come from hell, and it needs divine intervention, hence why going into church and giving donations is the way forward. Now, the problem that we're having in the grand context of things is that the more they use religion to hoodwink people into thinking that the problems are way beyond them, is that young people right across the continent will see this for what it is, mockery and playing with their futures. Young people want to have futures that are akin to others that are in the Western world. And a lot of politicians, especially in Kenya at the moment, are slowly taking that away from them.
I want us to go beyond Kenya and talk about I even want to use this, a Nigerian slang to describe it, but I'll just stay formal. The fact that our African leaders seem to have the same similarity cut across the poor level of governance that they churn out every day in their different countries. Why is it that this is the case across the African continent? And I mean, I can begin to name names. Let's start with West Africa, Cameroon, and several other countries. Nigeria is not left out of it. Why do we have such low par governance on the African continent? And can we ever be taken seriously if this is what we're giving out and this is what is recorded, this is what our people are complaining about on a daily basis? And it's not just this year, it's not last year, it's something that's continuously been the case. Can I loosely say or ask the question that are we cursed?
No, not at all. Far from it. I think it's to do with the type of politics that we as a populace engage in. And most of our politics is based on popularity rather than the right person for the job, the one that has the merit for the job. And this starts from all the party structures that are available right across the continent. The party structures will always propel the person that is much more popular. Now, that person will be popular but does not have a vision, does not have an idea how to even run a tuck shop or a little corner shop, let alone run an economy of a city, an economy of a country. And this is where our first problem comes in. We are dabbling into popularity politics way more often than we should. Now, fine, that person can be popular, moved right through the ranks, becomes the president of the party, consequently becomes the president of the country. The problem that now we have is that instead of holding that person accountable, the people around, because they benefit so much from the corruption around them, they don't hold that person accountable themselves. They see that person as a god. That if somebody donated $150,000 now, we're looking around going, that is so amazing. Oh my goodness, look what he did. We don't sit down and think, where is this coming from? Where is this going? And I'm not even talking about the voters. I am talking about the people that are around that person. I'm talking about MPs. I'm talking about the secretaries. I'm talking about the party structures. They don't hold anybody accountable. This, I think, is the first bout of our problems, including the popularity vote. If we fix the issues of popularity, I think we'll start getting somewhere. As we stand at the moment, there's not a lot of people that can tell me at least 5 policies from their favorite party or their favorite politician. People struggle because they vote on based, we like him. Why do you like him? He's good for the nation. Why? He's very handsome. He dresses well. Okay, can we have something much more substantial beyond that? And this also then trickles into the other part of political education. There's education that we can all have. Anyone can be educated to a certain standard, high school, university. But political education is something that I think should be part of curriculums. Because of that, then you start learning what a manifesto is from a very young age. Once you start learning what a manifesto is, then you start having an idea of what a political party stands for, what a politician stands for. Those small little changes, I think, could be very helpful if we run away from popularity contests.
All right.
Really go.
I really love that you're mentioning these things, because these are some of the things the conversations we have on Nigeria Info about voter education. But we have to go on a quick break. Ndu Bryan is a political analyst, and of course he's very well vested with geopolitics. This is Global Review. We'll be right back after this messages. The phone lines will be open. You can be part of the conversation. We're talking about Kenya and the protests that has been sparked.
More talk, news and sports after this.
Start your children's day with a great taste of Ovaltine, enriched with multi-nourishment, calcium, malt, and vitamin B12 to support learning and playtime. Ovaltine, smart choice for smart kids.
Did you know that micro, small, and medium enterprises account for 96% of Nigeria's businesses and contribute to about half of the country's GDP? They also provide around 84% of all employment in the country. Want to know more? Join us on Board Street Drive, our new business show, 2:30 p.m. Mondays on Nigeria Info 99.3 FM. Let's talk.
You remember the old days? You wanted to send a letter, so you'd write it by hand, buy a stamp, drive to the mail station, and wait weeks for a response. Then, email came along. Boom! Message sent in seconds. In no time, right? The world is changing. Money is changing. So why are you still investing the old way? Researching, guessing, praying, stressing. With Second Mountain, you go from posting letters to instant messaging, just like that. Second Mountain gives you freedom and control. You decide when and how you want to use your money. No lockups, no middlemen, while keeping full control of assets with self-custody. Imagine if you'd invested in Bitcoin 10 years ago. It's been the better performing asset 8 years out of 11. Visit secondmountainhq.com today. Don't be the one saying, I wish I'd started sooner. Second Mountain, financial freedom for everyone.
Everyone says I'm beautiful and bold. They say I'm fashionable. And to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
People say I'm good looking, funny, hardworking, and to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
So whether in the office or at home,
in the streets or on the dance floor,
anytime, any day, I never lose my confidence. And the secret to my confidence is Wazobia perfume.
Absolutely. Wazobia perfume gives the authenticity and long-lasting fragrance all day. That's my secret confidence.
Wazobia perfume is available in body spray.
Also available in supermarkets and markets near you. Wazobia perfume, the correct scent.
What is the square root of pi by 4?
4.0.
Wow, that's my girl. The Cowbellpedia Mega Minds is here. Don't miss a single moment of the action in the Cowbellpedia Mega Minds 2025 edition.
Over the 14 weeks, viewers also stand a chance to win prizes when they participate from home.
Tune in to Cowbellpedia Mega Minds on Africa Magic or visit our website at cowbellpedia.tv to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Cowbell. So good, so smart.
You can't choose when you get sick, but you could choose an HMO that helps you live more life. Now, you could choose an HMO with generic plans or Hygia HMO's customized plans for every stage of your life.
Now that's more like it.
You could choose an HMO with a handful of hospitals, or Hygeia HMO, which has a hospital network of over 2,000 providers within Nigeria with roaming options and no waiting time.
Yeah, that's more convenient.
You could also choose a cheaper HMO that doesn't quite meet your needs, or you could have Hygeia HMO's comprehensive yet affordable healthcare plans.
That's so amazing!
Life can be more with Hygeia HMO. Live more life with Hygeia HMO. Explore our comprehensive healthcare plans designed to meet your needs. Whether you're an individual, a family, elderly, an SME, or a corporate organization, we have affordable options for everyone. Visit our website at www.hygeihmo.com for more details. Hygeia HMO. Live more life.
This Easter, bring the whole family and escape to paradise at Ziba Beach Resort. Sun, sand, and unforgettable moments await. Enjoy Easter egg hunts, beach games, family activities, and movies under the stars. Plus delicious feasts and endless seaside fun. Call 0704 7300 013 or visit www.zibabeachresort.com. Ziba Beach Resort, where every holiday feels like paradise.
Every day is about winning with one play on Nigeria Info. On Nigeria Info, daily winnings is now over 150,000 naira. Just go to oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 #3#. Play with as little as 500 naira, and in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. The more you play, the better your chances of winning every day on the Morning Crossfire, WhatsApp Lagos, and Game On shows on weekdays, and the Football Frenzy shows on weekends. But that's not all. Every Friday, there will be a 500,000 naira jackpot. Playing during the week automatically qualifies you for the weekly jackpot. Your chances of winning are the same whether you play on oneplay.ng or dial *347 *880 *3#. Remember to play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18. OnePlay is a registered trademark under Lasho Trading Services Limited, licensed by the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Commission.
Is that Alfie playing football in the rain?
It's Toby Chio.
My goodness. When did he grow up? That's it with kids, though.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development with the new NanKid 4 with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics, and high-quality proteins to support age-appropriate growth. NanKid 4. Nourish your child's potential.
The question is not why South Africa. The real question is how you South Africa. How you'll come across 1,000 tongues that all speak in one voice. Welcome. How you can wake up with one foot firmly planted in the Indian Ocean and the other in the Atlantic Ocean. How diamonds and couture are but a stone's throw away from the safari. How your tongue will visit 1 million destinations on one plate. How your feet will sway in djembe, your torso in amapiano, and your mind in bliss. How crystal clear rivers flow in the day, and crystal flows in the night. Whoa. We know this because this is how we South Africa every single day. And this is why we invite you to South Africa with us. So come see, touch, taste, and feel South Africa. Come journey with us. Visit www.southafrica.net and see for yourself.
She started chasing all the bags. Come and secure another bag with the Jolly Just Come Welcome offer. Download BetKing app and register today using the promo code FREEBETS to enjoy your 100 naira instant sign-up bonus and other exciting offers. Terms and conditions apply. Not for persons under 18 years. Play responsibly.
Start your children's day with a great taste of Ovaltine, enriched with multi-nourishment, calcium, malt, and vitamin B12 to support learning and playtime. Ovaltine, smart choice for smart kids.
What can your bank do for you?
Meet Jane, 25 years old. She's been having troubles acquiring a loan from her bank.
This is not okay at all. I've been on this queue forever, and you're saying I should fill another form. What's going on?
What can your bank do for you?
Meet Frank, 27 years old, held up in traffic and making fruitless transactions.
Mama, I have saved the airtime, even the electricity charges. I don't know why it's so difficult making this payment.
Introducing Safri, a lifestyle digital bank that's designed just for you. With one click, you can make easy and fast payment transactions, pay bills, and even acquire easy loans. Hurry and download the Safri app on your Play Store. Visit safrisafri.com for more information. Safri, borderless banking.
My ions, please, can't get enough. My ions, please, give it to me now, now. It go rehydrate you, yeah. Replenish your ions with Pocari Sweat. Rehydrate you faster, easy, we observe. Pocari Sweat, give it some more. Pocari Sweat.
For 3 great seasons, the fans have fought with passion and fire, their best they brought. The banter was bold, the debates were tight, each word a weapon, each match a fight. But now it's bigger, the stakes much higher, the battle returns and it's full of fire. Grand Battle 4 with Femi and the gang on 99.3 Nigeria Info. The stage is bang. In partnership with Sports Salon, we raise the game with glory, honor, and a shot at fame. Think you've got what it takes to score? Then step right up. It's time for more. Register now and take your stand. Your time to shine is now at hand.
Registration is ongoing on www.nigeriainfo.fm.
And Battle 4. Let the battle begin.
.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Millions of listeners trust us on Hard Fact. Whether it's politics, social issues, controversies, and trending stories. You know we're credible and objective.
It's Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Still talking about what's happening in Kenya. That sparked protest. Of course, President Ruto was, he went to a church and donated about $150,000. And this raised eyebrows. Of course, people are saying, this might just be money laundering. Where do you get the money? Why are you giving it to the church? How come you're not doing... due diligence. There's a lot of questions that need answers. And I am guessing that if the president himself did not necessarily shoot himself in the foot, there would not have been this protest to start with. He had said that he was against giving monies to churches, and then he turns around and gives money to churches. And we talked about it and several other issues that tie to us as Africans, across the country. Good governance, accountability. And, in talking about Kenya, I feel like, hey, we're talking about Nigeria. But if you know what they say, if it backs like a dog, it might be a dog. 0201-277-0993 is the number to call. We're talking on Global Review about what's happening in Kenya. But does it look like what's happening in Nigeria and we're overlooking it? How do we get good governance across the African continent? How can we get the rest of the world to begin to look upon us and with some sort of respect, and take us seriously if our leaders themselves are not serious? 0201-277-0993. If you're a lady, call 0201-465-7190. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. You're listening from outside of the country. You could join the conversation on WhatsApp. It's 08095975805. Ndu Brian is still with us. He joins us from the United Kingdom. He's a geopolitist, politics analyst, and of course, he's great at what he does. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Lagos. Let's talk about this, of course, before we bring Ndu back. Ndu has said, most importantly, we need to start talking about politics education right from when we're young so that we know our rights and we know our responsibilities as citizens. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah, good afternoon, Action Lady.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to Brian. This is Chris.
Go ahead.
Back home here, the politicians, they are not romancing with the church leaders. One of them was telling us Nigerian case is spiritual. Can you believe that? The other day, they go to Mecca and they go to Rome. They go. You hear how much they budgeted for them? That is politician for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. All right, we're still talking on Global Review. 0201 277 0993. That's the number for you to call. 0201 465 7190. Go ahead and share your thoughts with us. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello, Miriam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Peter Monse is my name from Shomolu. I want to say to your guests, they are wonderful people there. That to me, the way he's explaining, it seems everybody speaks with one voice. I mean, those that are condemning the hypocritical behavior of the president, hypocritical in the sense that what you say should not be done is what you see. Now, after that, I want to ask him, what is the attitude of the government to the protesters? How is the government reacting
They're being
to the
tear
protest?
gassed. They're being tear gassed.
Yes. Now, being tear gassed, some of them arrested. The people charged for treasonable felony because that's what I want to hear. Because that's what happened in Nigeria. You don't go against the action and the decision of the president or those in power. Otherwise, you are charged for treason. So, are they being charged for treason? Are there dissenting voices that are saying, leave the president, let him do what he likes. He can do whatever. It's his money. Do we have people like that? Or everybody's speaking with one voice?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Brian, would you venture to respond to my last caller?
Unfortunately, he's very divided. So you have a lot of people that are also saying it's his money. He's a rich guy. Let him do as he pleases. But equally, you have a lot of people that are very much against this. And the police action has been very heavy-handed. And the problem that you have with the Kenyan government at the moment is that there is zero remorse, to the point now that people did ask, why are you contradicting yourself? Why are you going backwards on your own word? And his response is, I'm a product of God and I'll be given to God as much as I want. I'm unapologetic about it. So I'll do it as much as I want. Now, that is the fundamental problem right now with the Ruto administration. We don't, we appreciate and we understand dynamics in politics change quickly. Now, if there's a policy you wanted to implement today, tomorrow might not be viable. That's fine, but be apologetic about it. In the Kenyan government case at the moment, there's zero apology to anything they do or anything they change. And this is where some of the problems are coming from in terms of people protesting. Now, they're being charged for treason. Some of them are being held, then released. Some of them being held and not released in due time and due legal processes. And purely this is because they just want to keep them longer so that they don't go back to the streets and cause more what they would deem as chaos. But one thing that's available in Kenya that is probably slightly different from one or two countries in Africa is that the judiciary president is slightly split. There's a bit of a gap. Whereas in some countries, unfortunately, that gap doesn't exist. Very small gap might be, but it's still there.
Okay, well, let's take a few more calls. Hello. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hi, Maryann.
Yes.
So this is what, good afternoon or good evening to you and your guests. This is what happens when you have despots in power. You're talking about Kenyan story today, and I'm seeing Nigeria in everything that is playing out. How can you, against the backdrop of giving your people a better life, when you ought to be a leader, you are acting as a ruler. And because you wield so much power, you feel nobody can bring you to account. And then against the backdrop of giving your people probably industries and what will better their lives, you'd rather give money to church. I'm not saying it's not good to give money to church, but for crying out loud, this is taxpayers' money. It's your money. How did you get there in the first place? And who should you prioritize? Your people or the church itself? I don't understand why these people behave like this. Either it's the power that is intoxicating them, or when they are there, they say something and they mean something else. I commend the Kenyans for coming on out to protest this negativity. And I pray Nigeria can also take a cue from this and just speak with a unified voice.
Okay.
Greetings to your guests as well.
Thank you very much for calling. We're still taking your thoughts and comments. Let me read some messages quickly. Someone here says, see what Kenyan youths are doing, but here in Nigeria, we're only crying on radio and making noises online. Nigerian citizens are so lazy and cowardly. We're all seeing what Kenyan youths are doing. Shame on us, Nigerian youths, he says. Baba Fela said it long time ago. Religion leaders are the ones helping politicians I'm sure you mean the religious leaders are the ones helping politicians to take our money out of this country. He says, I beg, is anybody calling? If anybody calls your station and says anything about God, please cut them off. God is not a politician. Kalawale sent us this message. I want to read another quick message. Shay, you need to pay attention so you can play catch up with us. All right, let's take another call. Hello, welcome to Global Review.
Hello, Maryann.
Good evening.
Hello, Maryann. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Godman here.
Go ahead.
Okay, please. To be fair, if it's his personal money, he has every right to do what he wants to do with his money. All right, except he's
the operating word there is if.
To do that.
Mm.
Yes, if, yes. He has every right to do that. Nobody needs to. Then I want to ask a question. I want to ask your guest a question. Nigeria needs a protest like Kenya is doing. What is his advice? We actually need that protest. What is his advice on what we can do to really protest like Kenya is doing? Thank you.
All right, Godman. Thank you very much, Ndu.
One word, unity. As much as unity is very difficult, where does unity start from? Where does it end? It's unity. I always say that if you get 100,000 people to 1 million people in the street, there's no army that will shoot at those people. If you get 10 people on the street, 20 people on the street, 150 people on the street, they will shoot because they can disperse them quite easily. It's something that we can learn from South Africa. South Africans are very good at coming out in numbers. If they're protesting, the whole street will be lined with people, to the point that even if the security officers want to do anything, they know that the chances of people running towards them, or they know that it's very difficult to disperse them. When you've got 100 people, it's easy to disperse 100 to 1,000 people, because a couple of rubber bullets and a couple of tear gas, people disperse into all corners and all directions. But if you have 100,000 to 1 million people in the street, you can't disperse them. They will end up stopping themselves and realizing this is not worth it. So I think the unity part is key. The problem we have is that there's a lot of people that are benefiting from the corrupt system, right? And more often than not, when we think of benefiting, we're thinking of the people that are making $100,000 a day, $100,000 a month. No, you've got to consider the person that is making $1,000 from doing zero and is just supporting the corrupt regime. The fact that he's getting $1,000, that for him is more than he would have got in any other form of life. Therefore, you will be corrupt and be happy doing it. Right? So corruption is not about the big bucks that we see up in the big table. It is about the lower level. That lower level corruption of being able to give somebody $100, $200, that is what kills the nation. Because those are the very same people that don't come and protest with you when a protest needs to happen.
Absolutely. Let's take a few more calls and do before we let you go. Hello, welcome to Global Review.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Imo and I'm calling from Uluru.
Hi, Imo. Go ahead, please.
Okay, actually, I just tuned into the station and I noticed the conversation was all about Kenyan protests about the president giving out to the church. Okay, I want to ask, now there is a protest.
Imo, are you there?
There's a protest, yeah, because of the situation. What is the church doing about it? Now there's a protest in the country. The church that actually received this fund, what are they doing about it? Are they returning the fund back to make peace reign, or they are still withholding with the fund? I want to know, what is the church doing about it?
Interesting question, Imo.
Because
let me just let Ndu respond to this. Ndu, I know that you're not the church, but is there any news saying that the church is saying, well, Ruto, come get your money, we don't want any problems?
The church is tight-lipped more than anything else. There's about 8 armed men, not officers.
In front
that
of
are
the
around
church.
Yes, that are guarding the church. So they've got some security officers that are armed and they're guarding the church. So clearly there's no desire for them to return anything, and they've refused to give comments or any sort of interview to any journalist that has tried to approach them.
Interesting. Hello, welcome to Global Review. Turn off your radio, please.
Good afternoon, Maryann.
Turn off your radio. I'll tell you one more time.
I've turned it off.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now, Maryann, my take is this. Priority a big challenge to African nations. They don't even have priority for their people. This is Pastor Ladipo speaking. Giving church this kind of amount of money, why the people are languishing, is terrible. This is a misplaced of priority. The same thing is happening in our nation here today. Where we place so much emphasis on religion. And yet, these leaders, the religious leaders cannot even correct them. They can't correct them. It's terrible. Thank you and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much. And that's a pastor, by the way, saying that that we're not prioritized as people. Instead, the church is top on that priority list. Well, I'm going to take a few more messages and then let Ndu go, because we also have Kemi in the studio with some information for us. But hello, welcome to Global Review.
Hello.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon. This is Sule calling from Ikere.
Sule, go ahead.
I'm calling from Ewodo. So my take in this afternoon, whatever you like, they will use it to enter you. That's what I believe. I think I still more believe in the religion than their government. That is why they are used to sitting us in Africa.
Who's they? You mean the politicians?
Yes, now I'm talking, yes. Because I just seen the radio, but I did not hear much on narration of your guest. But I believe when you come to that religion, I notice that this is the issue that they were just talking about. And this is the starting of corruption in Africa. That was why Nigeria is like this. I don't know what is really going on in Africa. I don't want to take much. Thank you and God bless you.
All right. So he says, whatever you like, that's what the politicians use against you. Ndu, any last words for my listeners who are obviously looking for a way out, or how to get their leaders to be responsible and accountable to them? And for them, they would say, we've tried protesting and you didn't end well for us. A lot of us were arraigned for treason, trying to unseat the president. And you've said, we need to be, unity is the way to go. But how else can you get governments to be accountable?
I think the first step would be that low level of corruption. That's where it starts from. Us enabling low-level corruption means that we then don't get a lot of people on our side to be united for us to then protest together. And when we speak of unity in protest, sometimes being on the street is not the be and end all. Sometimes being at home is a protest on its own. So if a protest is being called and we all stay home for a week, no matter how tough and defiant that government is, they will change, because it means that they're not getting enough to their coffers for the whole week, right? So that's where the unity part starts from. It starts from the low-level hanging branches, as they call them, in the corruption tree, where we are not partaking in that, where we are calling out people that are partaking in that. And then it will slowly work itself up. And the most important part is when these protests are called, don't be the guy that goes to work if you really want change. Be the guy that stays at home if you don't want to be on the streets. But that on its own is a form of protest. Just being at home and not partaking in the day-to-day activities means the economy grinds to a halt. You kill them economically, then everything has to be spoken about now, because they see that people are defiant. Now, that's been our biggest problem on the continent, is that unity has been lacking right across. And it's because everyone thinks up with their belly, which I get. It's very difficult, right? When you're trying to think about food for tomorrow, and you think, if I don't go out and buy the tomatoes, I don't eat tonight. But there's got to be, a moment where you hold hands and say, if I want a better day tomorrow, I have to sacrifice today.
I want to thank you. That's a beautiful note. On that note, we want to say thank you. Ndu Brian is a political analyst. He's very vested in geopolitics. Always a pleasure to have him on Hard Facts. Thank you so much, Ndu, for taking out time to be on the show today.
No, thank you ever so much for having me. And thank you ever so much to the listeners and the callers as well that have jumped on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, Lagos, we'll go on a break. Kemi has information for us. On the other side of the clock, we're talking Trump. And, of course, his tariff that he has hit Africa with. My guests are joining me on the other side of the 5 o'clock hour. Stay with us.
Yes, Lagos, introducing the essence of true authenticity in fragrance, Wazobia perfume, the correct scent. It's a unique blend that captivates the authentic spirit of Nigeria, and it's now available in both perfume and body spray. And guess what? It's designed for everyone. So yes, it's for you, you, and you. Perfect for both men and women. Its rich and versatile aroma is a statement of inclusivity and unity. So you can unleash your confidence with every spray. Now, if you're a retailer or you love to buy in bulk, then we've got you covered, okay? Across Nigeria, Wazobia perfume comes in cartons of 24 bottles, and the body spray is available in cartons of 48. If you're interested in making Wazobia perfume a part of your collection or store and you want to make carton purchases, then yes, send an email to contact@wazobiacosmetics.ng. okay, that's contact@wazobiacosmetics.ng, or call the number 0201 33 0201 00047. Our team is ready to assist you with your orders. Wazobia perfume, the correct scent, your new signature fragrance. It's just a call or a click away. It is authentic. It's
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.